In Spanish-speaking homes, parents find it a challenge to help their children with their homework and have difficulties communicating with teachers. At the schools, Spanish-speaking students struggle in English immersion classes.
¿Qué pasó, pa? ¿Qué dice aquí en el papel? Pa, esto está en English. Pues dime en español lo que dice. Yo no sé lo que dice aquí. Entonces, ¿para qué vas a la escuela? Déjame intentar. You have tu coordination con el PlayStation y coordination application. ¿Comprendation? ¿Qué chingada madre fue eso? Pues yo no sé, aquí dice en el papel. A ver. Sigue leyendo. You have to play pagetation o si no, te van a mandar a la chingadation. ¿Estás seguro que dice eso? Yes. Yo mucho seguration. Y abajo del papel, ¿qué dice ahí? Dice, we look for the nation to sing chu. 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 ¿Qué es chu, chingada madre? Chu significa usted, papá, usted. Pues explícate bien, cabrón. Yo give help in ningún thank you nation.
It may be amusing to some that can relate to the hiccups and difficulties of having Spanish-speaking homes, but it is the unfortunate reality. Language barriers prevent students from sharing their ideas, thoughts, and feelings, experience, information, and expectations, give feedback, or communicate effectively. A student whose first language is not spoken at school may struggle to understand instructions and grasp concepts in the classroom and may need extra time and support to complete tasks. Visual aids, such as pictures, flashcards, charts, and diagrams, provide a visual representation of concepts and vocabulary, making them easier for students to understand and remember. These visual cues help bridge the gap between languages and facilitate comprehension. Listening to other students and teachers express their concerns and obstacles they face is something that doesn't just happen in Arizona, it happens all over the U.S.
I learned to speak English when I was about 3, and I've been speaking it ever since. When I hear the word language barrier, I think of the inability to communicate with others simply because you don't understand what they're saying and you don't speak the same language.
I'm a teacher at Legacy Early College High School. When I think of a language barrier, I'm thinking of something that separates human beings. We're not able to share love the way we would want to because we don't understand what a certain word may mean in their language. And for example, we use a lot of hand movements, and we laugh a lot. In some countries, laughing a lot may make you seem like you're not very intelligent.
There are times when I feel like I'm less of a person because of who I am, because I speak Spanish and I am Spanish. I have people around me who often say, oh, well, this is America, you need to speak English, learn English.
So how can we propose change in Arizona?
Hola, ¿cómo está? How are you?
It is important we all become familiar of what the dual language program is, and we can continue to educate parents and students about the dual language program and support the educators that implement it. It will allow students who aren't proficient in English to be taught half the time in English and half the time in their native language, most commonly Spanish. The goal is for students to become bilingual, which many say has many benefits, including being better able to compete in the job market later in life. Latino youths report that their parents place a great emphasis on the need to go to college. With the dual language program, it will allow students to have a better chance at succeeding in the classroom and outside of the classroom. Educators and parents want our students to be successful and want to provide the necessary resources and tools for those in need.
Many issues that affect the Latino Hispanic community while seeking medical attention or treatment. There is one that sticks out to me. Medical interpretation for limited English proficient patients, or simply put, for those patients that do not speak or comprehend the English language well enough to consent for procedures or understand treatment plans and interventions. More specifically, I want to focus on medical interpretation during night shifts, 7 o'clock p.m. to 7:30 a.m. I work at Tucson Medical Center and I see the amount of Spanish speakers that come through both of our cardiac units. I will normally be assigned 2 to 3 Spanish-speaking patients a night so that they can feel comfortable having a staff member that speaks their language. I will also be asked to interpret for other patients on my unit by the nurses or doctors. In-person interpretation is only available during the day, and at night we have iPads dedicated to video interpretation. The iPads are a great idea, but they always have a ton of issues when needed. To start, wait times for a Spanish interpreter can be over a minute. Microphone and speaker volumes for the hard of hearing patients, or the Wi-Fi is either down or drops the call mid-conversation. But the most significant problem that I've heard about from patients is that they would rather have someone in person to interpret, because with a person they can build a connection with, so that the patient can feel comfortable sharing complete answers. But I just recently learned that even though I speak Spanish and that it brings a sense of calm for the patient knowing that there is someone who can understand them, I am not allowed by hospital policy to speak to my patient without an interpreter, even if it's to ask about toileting or simply for water. Within the hospital's policies, there are steps to becoming an interpretation assistant with a language competency exam, which is followed by a more intensive medical interpretation exam, but they offer no incentives to take these tests or to get certified. There is always talk about hiring more overnight in-house interpreters, but those talks always fall through.
But this is only a quick fix for the real issue behind it.
And the best way to challenge this inequity is to change the language and limitations of the policy that has been written with explicit bias. As I was told about the interpretation policy that I was not following, I noticed how it said no
That
to.
doesn't sit well with me.
How am I not allowed to speak to a patient in Spanish who can respond and interact with me, but can interpret an emergent situation where the patient can be confused or have an altered mental status, or worse, actively coding where interpretation cannot happen because the patient is actively dying? I have gotten in contact with the Director of Language Services at TMC to become certified for medical interpretation, as well as to go through the policy itself to change the limitations, because not being allowed to speak to a Spanish-speaking patient in Spanish without an interpreter is dangerous for many reasons.
In Arizona, the Hispanic community faces a formidable challenge when it comes to accessing quality health care in regards towards language barriers. According to AccuTrans and Data USA, with over 1.36 million Spanish-speaking residents, comprising more than 20% of the population in Arizona, the need for comprehensive language-accessible healthcare resources is very urgent throughout our Hispanic community. However, these barriers extend beyond mere communication issues. They pose significant obstacles to proper diagnosis, treatment, and overall healthcare outcomes.
The impact of language barriers. Imagine a scenario where medical instructions get lost in translation. This not only affects patient understanding, but can lead to serious health consequences. Accurate communication between healthcare providers and patients is paramount. Language barriers can result in misdiagnosis, incorrect treatment, and even life-threatening situations.
Communication breakdowns are pervasive, particularly for those with limited English proficiency or who primarily speak Spanish. Imagine you're trying to convey a complex medical symptom or concern in a language you're not fluent in. It's a reality for many in the Hispanic community, leading to misunderstandings, misdiagnoses, and ultimately inadequate care. This is exacerbated for the elderly population, who may struggle with both language and technology literacy. Navigating through a healthcare system becomes a Herculean task when faced with language barriers, from scheduling appointments to online, to understanding prescription instructions. The lack of language-appropriate resources further complicates matters. Despite the high demand, Arizona's healthcare infrastructure falls short in providing for accessible resources for Spanish-speaking residents throughout the community. According to the World Population Review, Arizona's Latino population accounts for over 31% of the state's total, making it the fourth largest Hispanic population percentage state in the U.S. This highlights the urgent need for accessible healthcare resources tailored to Spanish speakers throughout our community in Arizona.
A global health solution. Interpreters are skilled professionals that bridge the language gap, ensuring accurate communication between patients and healthcare providers. Thanks to accurate translation, patients receive the care they deserve, and medical professionals can provide it without hesitation. By using professional interpreters and translation services like the Spanish Group, and recognizing the importance of clear communication, we can truly break down language barriers in healthcare and create a healthier world for all.
To tackle these challenges, a multifaceted approach is necessary. First and foremost, we must prioritize the provisions of qualified interpreters or translators during medical appointments, ensuring effective communication between the patients and the healthcare providers. Additionally, healthcare summaries and prescription instructions should be available in Spanish to facilitate understandings. Investing in literacy support programs tailored to the Hispanic community can also empower individuals to navigate the healthcare system more confidently. Furthermore, raising awareness of available resources and support services within the community is essential. By addressing these language barriers head on and fostering linguistic diversity within the healthcare system, we can strive towards a better equitable healthcare access for all residents of Arizona.